Welcome, everyone, to the Food and Movies podcast. This is Food and Movies, where we investigate the intersection between food and movies. This is episode 1. We are doing the movie The Queen, in tribute, actually, to the Queen who has recently passed. God save her. Welcome, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. You know, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, you're hurt by this. This one kind of hit you hard.
It really came out of left field, I must say. I didn't know how much I took the Queen for granted, frankly. You know, she really was that steady, mothering figure that I didn't really know she was in my life. It took me by surprise. How about yourself?
No, didn't take me by surprise. She's in her 90s. That's what they do. And I think it was like in the morning you found out she's in the hospital. I'm like, well, there you go. Also, yeah,
didn't get into it. Eh?
I'm impartial. Do I like? Am I anti-monarchy? No, not at all. Am I like super pro-monarchy? No, not at all. Just they're there. It's like the Pope for me. Like,
you're Switzerland.
Hey, you know what? Charles is the king. Great. That guy seems like cool guy. I don't know. His wife is a handsome woman.
Very handsome.
Yeah. And
I'll tell you what, Camilla, you can tell she's a good time.
Yeah.
You can tell she's got a great... there's a reason he's with her, because she looks like she would be a cool chick to hang out with.
Yeah. And the kids...
And I must say, this is taboo to say, I don't think Diana was a cool chick to she was beautiful, graceful, you know, but I do think that she might have been a little bit boring, perhaps. Maybe not so fun to hang out with.
I suspected it was him that was a little boring, or like him.
Oh, for sure. They're definitely bored, which is why you need someone like a Camilla there to kind of liven things up.
Yeah, and then with the two princes and all that, the one ginger one that married Meghan Markle, moved to America, Harry.
Yeah, troublemaker.
Sure, all right. And then now everyone hates Meghan Markle. Couldn't care less. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay,
that's my stance on the Queen. But you know, it seems like you had a little bit more. What made you feel that way?
I really don't know. I'm the type of person who's just sort of observing everything all the time in the world. And she's been a significant figure for a long time. And it was just one of those things where no matter what was going on in the world, you knew that the Queen was going to come out there and just steady. She's not going to freak out. She had whatever her role was as a figurehead, she played it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even keeled, keeping the traditions alive. You don't got to worry about the Queen doing something weird, you know? And also I think there needs to be sort of like a person in the world who just shows you what it means to engage in civil discourse and just civil activities and to having an example of a level of manners and professionalism at all times. You know, that whole keep calm, carry on thing. There's something about it which I do respect. I don't think they're worth the money they're getting paid. I will say that much. But there is value there that I feel like the Queen did contribute something to my life, and I do feel a loss for her.
Okay. Well, yeah, the money thing is interesting because I was because of this. You know, we were watching this film this week. I really looked into it. I mean, also because you see on social media all the time people being like, "Oh, well, Britain's paying for these people, and paying to." But it comes back from years and years ago of just land holding, and Prince Charles owns a town.
What town?
I think it's called Poundsbury. And I'm not making this up.
I think Epstein owns that town.
Yeah. That's Prince Andrew. No. Poundsbury is a small town. It's like a suburb of another place. I don't know. It's in the UK somewhere in England. And basically it's like he runs it. And you should just check this out on Google. It's interesting. Like all the his take on architecture, his take on sustainability. He's super really into climate change, global warming, all that stuff. But he only allows a certain type of architecture. Like it has to be old. Like he doesn't like modern, like the Shard in London. He hated all that stuff. He hates. He prefers like the old, like little hamlets. And he runs like how these people live their lives. Like they can't build certain ways, but they all seem to love it. It's just this quiet little sleepy hamlet that falls under what's like the Duchy of Windsor or whatever, or the Duchy of Cornwall, which is like his land holdings. It's a company that's basically pays him, right? They also pay tax to the British government, but they pay him, and then he, I don't think he pays tax on those earnings or something, but they pay tax. It's a whole thing. Maybe once we do a whole episode on royal finances, but for now,
it does sound like an actual old school like royal system where like, this is the guy who owns the town. You pay him taxes, and he just runs it the way he wants to run it.
Yeah, he's the liege lord. It's like his fiefdom or whatever, and I don't know. It's the UK has that just it's that monarchy thing, and I mean, look, we're Canadian, we fall under that same kind of Commonwealth, but Prince
Edward's got an island out here in the Maritimes.
He's got a hell of an island.
Damn, it's a good one.
Yeah, and Queen Elizabeth has an expressway here in Toronto, so yeah.
And also, I do remember when I was in primary, this is how old I am, they gave us a coin as a graduation present to commemorate the marriage of the Charles and Diana, actually.
Okay.
And I remember getting this coin as a child, and right away, these guys cursed them, the people who gave us that coin, because right away, the first adult I showed this to said, oh, you know what? That coin is going to be more valuable if they get divorced. And it'll be even more valuable if they die. And I was like, years later, look what happened, man. Like they really spoke that into existence, which I think is actually a real thing. The older I get, speaking things really does affect lives and the reality.
Putting it out there into the world, into the ether. Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
It's like karma. People believe in that too, right? So
yeah, it's weird.
Do you have the coin still?
Yeah. I don't think I have it anymore. I looked it up on eBay, and it's worth nothing. It's they gave them to basically every Canadian kid graduating primary that year. I think. I'm not sure.
I was not around, or I was not. I was not graduating. I was probably around, but
yeah. Okay.
So
So the Queen, the movie. First of all, it's directed by Stephen Frears.
Yeah, dude directed Philomena. I think that was kind of the other movie that I know that he directed, and then he's just kind of done a bunch of other period pieces, it seems.
I think he made his bones directing Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, that was.
And then from there he went to America and directed The Grifters for Miramax, which was considered to be like an indie darling. John Cusack doing a bit of a jerk turn in that movie, which he was not known for at the time.
Yeah, I'm not if you know how there are those actors and like in the world that you just don't like.
Oh, John Cusack is that guy for you?
John and Joan, both of them.
Not really? You got a beef with the whole family?
Not a fan.
I did not see that coming out. I didn't know anyone had a beef with John or Joan.
And you know what? Both of them, great actors. I have no problem with their performances.
No, you do have a problem though. You do.
I just have a problem with their faces. It's different.
Okay.
Yeah, very punchable faces.
I always thought that John Cusack looked like a cartoon of a regular guy.
Yeah.
Like he didn't look like a normal. He looked like he was some kind of glitch in the Matrix, like a video game character in real life of just like a average looking guy.
Yeah. He's a caricature of himself, maybe.
Yeah.
Mind.
I always liked him though. I always liked him in those 80s movies. Seemed very relatable. I could definitely use him as an avatar for myself. I think everyone could, basically, in every movie.
He is an everyman.
Yeah.
But he's a really stupid face. Not a fan. First hot take coming out right in the...
scorching hot take on that one. All right, coming straight out of the gate, Stephen Frears. And also, I wanted to mention Stephen Frears actually did a couple of pretty good movies. High Fidelity. I'm a big fan of that movie.
John Cusack.
High Fidelity came out in 2000, which actually predated and predicted the rise of hipsters, I feel like.
Yeah.
You show me a movie that was before that predicted hipsters. I'll wait. I don't think there was.
was Jack Black. Was that
Yep.
yeah,
Jack Black.
him and
Yep.
yeah. All right.
Yep.
So
snobby record guys, vinyl, the whole thing.
Yeah. Kind of predicted hipsters for sure, because the vinyl and the glasses and the beard, they weren't really big in that, but yep, definitely.
Also, Dirty Pretty Things. Got to shout that one out.
Yeah.
Tremendous movie. And he most recently in 2022 did The Lost King, which I have not seen.
Neither
but I thought it's significant because, he made the Queen. Now he made The Lost King. Maybe it's a thing of his. He's going to do a princess, perhaps. I don't know.
So would you say he does, this piece is, the Queen is very kind of character driven. Would you agree that most of them, like High Fidelity, had kind of a character driven story? What are your take on how he kind of tells stories?
I do think that he is a character guy. I don't think any of his movies are really about the plot.
Yeah.
Or about any kind of like allegory for anything political or anything like that. I do think he's very much interested in very, very specific people in a very, very specific time, which this movie actually is. It's called The Queen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Queen, it only uses the parts of the Queen's life around the death of Diana.
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead, by the way, everyone who's watching this.
Yeah. Just FYI, Princess Diana dies.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, she does.
But it's also, it's interesting because it's around the death of Princess Diana, but it's also around the time that, the big kind of opening thing is Tony Blair.
Yes.
In the Labour Party. And, Britain turning from this kind of staunch conservative country into like the new Britain, right? And what's going on now. And then you see a lot of what happened throughout this film, the big kind of counter reaction. Like, in politics, there's always a pendulum swinging this way, that, little left, little right, maybe too left, a little too right. Then you see like, kind of what comes out of Blair is this kind of Boris Johnson, whatever's going on now, right? So pendulum swinging back the other way. So it's interesting. UK politics are a different beast I know very little about.
I do love the debates. I've watched a couple of clips of UK politics and how they kind of attack each other.
Yeah.
In a very British way.
Yeah.
Which there's something about it which I do enjoy. The pomp and circumstance and also British insults. I think are hilarious. They're absolutely hilarious.
When Boris Johnson was the mayor of London, and the city council, they did something. They overrode him on something. I don't remember what it was. But he turned and he called them all great supine invertebrate jellies. Like, and just in that Boris Johnson, like deep, like weird with his crazy hair. Like he was just,
oh man,
that dude was fascinating. Still,
he looks like every time you see that guy, he looks like he just walked home from the bar at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I think it's intentional. I think it's part of like a whole kind of
100%
persona
it is.
He's putting forward, and it's a lot of his kind of thing was showmanship. Like when he was coming in for the Olympics in that stupid harness, and then he got stuck, and he was just hanging there with the harness, like pulling his crotch out. Like it was just brutal.
He is sort of like half mascot, half political leader.
Yeah.
He's a really interesting dude.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for. I want more of those guys. Like in our country, what's his name in Toronto, the mayor?
Oh, John Tory.
No.
Previous to him.
Yeah. The mayor of Toronto.
Rob Ford.
Rob Ford. Again, half mascot, half politician. Trump is like that, basically.
100% cokehead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Doug is kind of taken up that mantle, the premier. It's taken up that mantle of like kind of the big bombastic caricature person.
Yeah. They're sort of half playing the role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I do enjoy that.
They're acting as politicians as opposed to actually being like Diamond Joe Biden. He's a politician. He's not acting. That's what he has done for his whole life. Whereas guys like Trump and Doug Ford and Rob Ford and Bojo, all kind of had this persona. It's funny because they're all kind of that populist conservative kind of guy. I don't know about the Ford so much, but so interesting, like very kind of interesting parallels that you can draw between all different leaders of countries and mayors and whatnot. Absolutely.
Now, I did so the movie basically it's a kind of a push and pull between Tony Blair,
Yeah.
who represents, I guess, the working class of Britain. He's their elected official. That's where he came from. He's a working class guy,
Yeah.
more or less. And the Queen, who represents the tradition and the upper class of Britain. And the weird thing about the movie is that the Queen is in her whole life, she has been about maintaining tradition.
Yeah.
Just doing the right thing. This is her job. She knows what to do. She maintains the tradition. The people respect her for it. And Tony Blair is the sort of the modern president who represents the people. And Britain, by the way, there's no one more racist against their own than in Britain. Like, white on white racism in Britain is unreal. The class system they have there, it's still going to this day.
Yeah. Like if you're from a working class town, you have a working class accent, you're looked down.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to change your accent
Yeah,
because
yeah,
your
yeah.
friends will make fun of you for it. And you can't get into the upper levels of your career unless you change your accent too. It's very, very important.
Yeah,
So,
unless you're on, you're a soccer player, footballer or whatever, then you can do whatever you want. But
True.
it's interesting you bring it up that way, that it's the Queen versus Tony Blair, which I think it was, in my opinion, and I don't think you're wrong. I think that was definitely part of it. But there was Tony Blair, there was the Queen, and then there was James Cromwell's character, Philip Mountbatten, her husband, and then the Queen mum, or that old lady. I forget who she was. I don't know. I forget the actress's name, but you're the movie guy. And those two kind of were always on the side of like stiff upper lip, tradition. We don't do that. The flag has not been raised on Buckingham Palace. It's only raised if the Queen is there, and we do not put it to half mast, blah, 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 blah. The Queen kind of was this in between. Like I saw her as like the slider going to like, do we go to New Britain or do we stay old Britain? Like she was kind of being played between the two, which is ironic because she's actually the Queen. She's the one in charge. Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
Sorry. Oh, so she's just there's a little bit of manipulation from the people around her, like Mountbatten, Charles trying to be the modern prince, like always siding with Blair a little bit, and him and Blair having the kind of backdoor conversations there, or through the other channels, which was actually what Charles did a lot of the time and has done a few times in his career as the Prince of Wales, is intervene in politics. And the British people don't like that. They like to see the monarchy fairly separate from, the branches of government. So I kind of saw it as the Queen being a central piece, and then her getting pulled in every which direction, and then finally going then finally her and Tony Blair having that kind of moment of understanding at the end where she still kind of maintained the tradition and he still had to bow. And then she said, let's go for a walk kind of thing. So, and then,
yeah. And she did kind of, her instinct was to, not lower the flag because that's not what the flag is for. It's for a specific thing. And you're not supposed to, Diana was not a part of the royal family anymore. So this proper ceremony was not supposed to apply to her. She was just trying to follow the rules, which she has done in her entire life. But Tony Blair was trying to tell her, listen, the people want this. This is an exception to your rules. And he was exasperated by that. She was exasperated by that as well. And they needed an intermediary to kind of like say, listen, you need to do something here to acknowledge this death because the people demand it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Tony Blair's little kind of tirade at the end where he says, everyone's kind of shitting on the Queen. And he says, you know what? Like, he kind of comes to this realization. And to me, it felt a little forced, but like, it was kind of like a story progression thing as opposed to like an actual revelation he had. But he says she didn't want to do this job. She was forced into this job, which is true. Like, she's just born into, all of a sudden you're the guiding light for a nation. And you were just, it's like the antithesis of being born completely poor and like, just like, being born to like a homeless family or something. Like you did nothing to deserve that. She did nothing to deserve her life, but there she is thrown into it and she has to like step up and take that role. And Tony Blair's speech there was really kind of like, really drove that home. And his wife, I bring her up because she's been in a lot. Sure. What's her name? Helen McCrory. She was in
Helen McCrory.
Yeah. Okay. She had a bit role in Harry Potter. She was that.
You find me a British person who has not been in Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She was Peaky Blinders. She was in Peaky Blinders. She's been in a lot. She was kind of like she's British Shakespeare, all that stuff. So she's just shout out to her. She's actually a very, very good actor.
Hey, listen, shout out to all British trained actors. They're all very good, as far as I can tell.
Which is an interesting segue to James Cromwell. Philip Mountbatten. Okay. He's American.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been in everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's the guy they get when they can't get, that other old guy. Who you name it, that other old white guy. They bring in Cromwell.
Yeah. Cromwell is an institution, though. Shout out to Cromwell.
Yeah. I love that. There's a hierarchy of these guys, like John Lithgow, Cromwell.
Yeah. Oh, Lithgow for sure.
Lithgow's in that mix. Just when you need like an old white guy to kind of just support. He's a good supporting guy. He's a good character actor.
Steady dude.
Steady. Yeah. It's a steady hand.
I suspect guys like that who are they're not necessarily A-list, but they're kind of hover between B and C list, who just are at work all the time. They must be good guys. Otherwise, no one would work with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't be in all those things, right?
Yeah, for sure. Probably nicest dude, hangs out in his trailer, chilling with everyone.
I need to get my hands on these guys. This podcast has to blow up so I can get a James Cromwell on here and just milk that dude for stories for hours. Those dudes, I guarantee you, they cannot wait to tell some stories.
Yeah, we can name that episode "Milking James Cromwell."
Yes, we can. All right. Do you have any thoughts on the movie otherwise, or should we just get into the food?
No, I mean, initially, look, it was a slog for me because, as I said before, completely impartial to the royal family whatsoever. But kind of as you got deeper into it and you the characters developed, really nice film. I mean, Helen Mirren, great performance. She's, solid as the queen. And that's an interesting role to play. It's got to be. And then, if you watch The Crown or whatever that show was and all the different people that came in to play the queen doing their different versions of it, this was just another take, Helen Mirren's take. And Helen Mirren is the top. She's the best, right? So, yeah, that's pretty
Helen
much
Mirren.
Pretty
she's
much
a goddamn
it.
pro.
Yeah, she's an absolute pro. So let's get into the food. Not too much food in this, but little hints, little dabbles, a couple mentions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get in. So, okay, first of all, first appearance of food, minute 19.
Yeah.
Very important scene. Tony Blair watching the official statement of Diana's death while him and his whole family eat breakfast. Couple things I noted on the table. Cornflakes.
Yep.
Specifically the cereal cornflakes. You got jam. You got orange juice. And Tony Blair is wearing a soccer jersey with his name on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
So before we get into the food, do you think Tony Blair does that? And if he does, is that a red flag?
I mean, wearing your own name on a jersey. I mean,
as the leader of a free nation,
I don't know.
If you see that dude wearing a jersey with his own name on the back.
Did he play? I don't know. If he played, then why not?
No, I believe that was actually a pro soccer team in England, the one he follows.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Probably a red.
Don't care. Okay.
Probably a red card. Definitely a yellow card for sure.
Okay. Fine. Fair enough. But that breakfast scene is intercut with the Queen's high table at breakfast.
Yeah, and the two different,
which is prepared by servants and everything. I didn't really see what was going on. They didn't bring out any food, but there was tea, of course.
Yeah.
But I do believe the two scenes, specifically, the movie gets started with this scene. The action gets rolling with this scene. It's breakfast and it's contrast, and I think very effectively, we immediately see the contrast between the two characters, between the old world and the new world. Simply by them eating breakfast, we see how they eat breakfast.
Yeah, and also just this was purely, like as you're saying, to set up the two characters, set up what they're all about. She's super high class, super traditional, the tea, all that crap, and then he is the working class, eating with his family. That typical breakfast in the morning before work kind of thing. I don't know if your family ever did that. Mine sure didn't.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We were more cold cereal than out the door to school. But
hey, tell it to your therapist, bro.
Yeah. Well, no, but my dad was a doctor, is a doctor. So wake up super early. He'd be gone before I'd even be up, right? And everyone, all different people going different places. So eating breakfast like that was never something I did, so I don't know much about it. But you said that your family sat down at breakfast every day.
Pretty much, yeah. Because my dad would take me and my brother to school, so we would, eat breakfast, hop in the car, and we're out there. And my mom, she's an Indian lady who's takes food extremely seriously.
Yeah,
like she considers that her job.
Yeah,
and if there's any issues with food, it bothers her a great deal. So, food in general taken pretty serious in my family. Breakfast, growing up, it's just part of the routine. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I do know that English breakfast.
Oh,
there's quite a bit to talk about there.
Yeah.
There was the traditional English breakfast,
the full English.
The full English.
Yeah.
Do you know what the full English is?
Yeah. Yeah. In theory, well, I know there's the. You tell me. Like I'll rattle off some things. You tell me where it fits because I don't know where we're.
I'm not really sure. I didn't research it, but I've seen on menus before.
Yeah, full English to me is eggs. Usually I see them sunny side over easy, however you want your eggs scrambled.
How do you do them?
I'm a scrambled man. Always been a scrambled man. I think we've probably already talked about this, but a scramble to me is if you're going to a breakfast restaurant and it's the measure. If they do a good scramble, then it's, and in America and the UK, scramble's very different, right? The America, they just put it on a griddle, a lot of heat. It's kind of dry usually, and throw ketchup and hot sauce on it, and you're done. The British, it's more kind of fluffy. I don't know if you've ever seen Gordon Ramsay. Shout out Gordon Ramsay.
We did talk about this, yeah. But is that how it's traditionally done in
the UK prefers a little bit underdone, a little bit more.
I like the UK. Then.
Yeah, I prefer the UK scramble myself, unless I'm adding in, like sometimes I'll do a scramble for myself and the missus, and we'll do like throw in some vegetables, a little sausage, a little, just a big hearty.
That's the great thing about scrambled, man. You can just throw things in there.
It's versatile.
It's just tremendous, yeah.
But, or the British like to do in like a full English, poached eggs are big, boiled eggs are big, which you get a little healthier, a little pure protein. But then, so full English to me, from what I know, is baked beans, rashers of bacon or sausage. Or both, if you're...
You said rashers? They call it rashers?
Well, that's just a strip of bacon. Not Canadian bacon, regular bacon. And then, so you got your baked beans. Sometimes they'll do like a blood pudding or a blood sausage kind of thing.
That's true. They have weird stuff,
like
which blood puddings over there, yeah.
I used to shy away from, but then once had it and was like, this is delicious. Like that blood sausage pudding, whatever the hell it is called, is fantastic. And it's just sausage with, I guess, blood in it? I don't know. I should probably research that.
Because you never know over there, because you can order sweetbreads over there, and it is not what you think.
No.
Just so you cannot really go. If it could be blood sausage, it might be something completely different. We don't know.
Yeah. So, there's that. And then, so you got the bacon, the eggs, the baked beans are key. You got to have the baked beans. I feel like I'm missing. Oh, the tomato, the roasted tomato.
Yes, I'm reading right here. It says tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sausage, I believe. Called bangers.
Bangers, yep. Bangers.
That can also be a substitute for the bacon, which over here as well.
Yeah. And the bacon, I always find in an English breakfast, the bacon is usually rather undercooked. Yeah.
You like that stiff as a board?
I like it a little, I would say a little al dente on my bacon, a little medium rare.
Okay.
But all right. Not like burnt to crisp, but not like just where it's like, I don't know, this doesn't feel, all bacon's cooked, I'm sure, but where it's just like the fat's a little gristly and chewy. It's not my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do love about an English breakfast.
Yeah.
They're into the marmalade over there.
Oh, yeah.
They F with the marmalade a lot over there, which I think I need to do more of. I've been through periods in my life because I've been through periods in my life where I would do like real breakfast for a long time. I would go like eggs, toast of some kind, and then water or like some kind of juice. But like, I've been through those periods, and I did go through a period when I didn't do jam. I did marmalade. And those are some of the happiest breakfasts of my life.
Really?
I must say. Tremendous. Yeah, you get little orange rinds in there and stuff. Very underrated marmalade. I don't even hear people talking about it over here. Or if you go to breakfast places, rarely is it ever, I guess, offered or even ordered from what I can see.
Usually jam, and then you'll get like... Now, the question is marmalade purely orange?
No. I think it can be any kind of citrus fruit. I think you can make any fruit into a marmalade.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics of it, but the orange specifically with the rinds in there, I appreciate.
Okay, because I've had like a peach jam or jelly or something like that. Like, you get the little tubs at the breakfast place, and sometimes there's...
Love the little tubs. Oh, yeah. Love them.
Don't even get me started. You get the strawberry, the raspberry, and sometimes they'll throw like a peach or something at you, or a marmalade. And you're like, all right, I'm okay with this. I'll, mix it up. You do one toast strawberry, one toast marmalade, one, play around a bit, have a good time.
Absolutely.
I'm all about that with the toast. You got to have the jam. But salted butter melted into the toast, then jam. So you get that salty savory
100%.
with the sweet.
100%.
Definitely.
Now, during this scene where Tony Blair is eating breakfast, he calls the Queen. The Queen is about to eat breakfast, and she says to the servant that she will take the phone call in the study.
Mm-hmm.
And when she said that, I just realized, in my life, I want to do that one day.
Just take the call somewhere else.
I want to be ready to have breakfast. People are making it. I get a phone call, and I tell my people, I'll take it in the study.
Nice.
I feel like that is a measure of you've really accomplished something if you can do that.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, you're just going to get it on your cell phone, and then you could take the call wherever the hell you want. Really.
It's tough. It's going to be tough. You're right. With the invention of cell phones, it will be difficult. I think I can still pull it off, though.
All right. Fair enough. Did you notice that she always kind of takes the call in a different room?
Yeah, I think that's part of the whole process of what she does. Yeah.
It definitely was a power move. I'll take it in the servant's kitchen.
Yeah, right? Well, we'll get to that in a second because I think that's a thing where you don't want your help listening to, I feel like it's such a jerk saying things like the help and things like that, but I think that's part of what it means to be royal, is like you take these important phone calls by yourself. Either you go in another room, which is the first option. If you can't, everyone gets out.
Yeah, you kick everyone out.
Yeah, politely.
Yeah,
God bless them. All right, so that was the first scene of food in the movie. I think it was a pretty effective scene. I think it really set the table. Oh, hey, set the table.
First zinger of the day, right? All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At some point, we got to get a sound effect going where it's like, boom, or something like that, just to really.
We got to do something.
When we start overproducing the podcast, we'll have soundboards where we can do different sound effects. It'll be great.
Certainly. Now, I think the most interesting food scene of the movie is at minute 44 with the full-on outdoor picnic.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about that? The only food they mention is the lamb stew.
Right.
But I mean, they've got multiple picnic baskets. I think they actually dress for the occasion. I think they're doing some kind of fox hunt or something.
Yeah, the British are all about that, especially like the wealthy British. Like they'll strap on like a Barber jacket and the wellies.
The tweed.
Yeah, the
whole fall tweed. Yeah.
Like elbow patches, shoulder patches.
For the gun?
Yeah, the gun patch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they'll pack a picnic and they'll have the hounds around and the hounds will go running. And
yeah, there's like 50 hounds for one poor fox.
Yeah,
man.
When the British hunt, it feels very like not in the animal's favor.
I don't even think it's about the hunting. I think it's just about, listen, we're going to go out there. We're going to drink. We're going to get these dogs. We're going to get on these horses. And, it's more about just like, I think it's sort of like a weird party.
Yeah.
Like a weird day long on a horseback. You know what I mean? Like
the pageantry of it all, right? Like and then they sit down to a nice, refreshing lamb stew.
Yep.
And
which can be eaten hot or cold, according to the Queen.
Yeah. Yeah. And, probably dipping some good bread in that. We can stop here for a second because today's recipe from the show, which will be down in the comment section below or down in the caption below, will be my take on lamb stew bourguignon. Please remember to use Pinot Noir. I've put the recipe down there, but just a take on lamb stew that you can do at home. Very easy to cook, either slow cooker, Dutch oven, whatever you got. You'll see the recommendations down there. I did it bourguignon style as a shout out to another famous British person, Julia Childs. Not Julia Stiles.
That was very Freudian.
Yeah, very Freudian. Julia Childs, who, her big thing was beef bourguignon. We've substituted the beef for lamb. It's my personal recipe, an adaptation of Julia Child's recipe. But yeah, pretty much other than that, something just dinged on my computer. That's all right. We'll edit that out.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for that, Jer. I've never had a lamb stew, but I will commit to making that once I get that recipe.
Yeah, and every episode with there's there'll be some point where we pop up and I'll just say there's a recipe down below for this or our version of this, and I'll explain it. I probably won't go through the recipe because I'm not going to cook it here today, but you can see that recipe. It's pretty easy to make. It's a little labor intensive on the stew, but some of them will be easier, some of them will be harder.
We appreciate all of them, Jeremy.
Great. Let's keep going.
Now, I didn't. I just realized this now as we were talking about the outdoor picnic, that I mentioned before how I aspire to be interrupted during breakfast being made by my people, and then I have to go. I'm just thinking now, I would love to be in a situation where I'm doing an outdoor picnic the way they were doing. I think I'm getting kind of like caught up in why the Brits love the royals so much. There's this aspirational quality to them, which I'm kind of getting caught up on right now. I didn't realize it was happening until I started looking at my notes right now.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's
like, when was the last time you've been to any kind of picnic at all, and of that level? A multiple basket picnic is what I'm talking about.
And they've got those high-end wicker baskets too. These aren't like your everyday baskets. These are serious purpose-built picnic baskets that are pretty impressive. I get it. It's easy to get swept up in that. As I said, the pageantry of it all is interesting, and it kind of everything they do is at such a high level of
they take it seriously.
Your whole life.
I guarantee you, when they were planning out that picnic, like, it was a real thing. It was a serious thing. We got to make sure we do this right.
Yeah, there's a team. There's probably teams of people involved. Kind of picnic crew, coordinator. It's all.
And I guarantee you, the gossip said at those picnics where you're out in the woods and no one's around, must be absolutely just like the greatest, most high end, gossipy stuff you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah. Also, I mean, they roll up. I forget in the picnics. They roll up in the Land Rovers and then they set up for the hunt and whatnot. Yeah, I like it how the Queen has this kind of motorcade of really posh British cars too, like the Land Rovers and the Range Rovers and all that stuff. It's kind of it's just really, really elitist.
I'm buying into the elitism.
You're loving it. All right.
I really am.
Fair enough. Well, maybe
all right.
Maybe you can marry in and figure that out.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I'll definitely figure something out. All right, minute 47. Charles drinks tea. That's my only note. Now,
tea is important.
Like a small note. Seems like a small note, but being an Indian dude, tea and Indians and Brits, very important thing in history. The Brits basically took over India for tea.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back at history and you think about, like, why do these guys attack those guys? Oh, for spices. And you're like, what? Like, it boggles your mind sometimes. Like, why do they invade? Well, it's mostly for tea. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, look, tea became before the advent of modern day, like, refrigeration, spices made a lot of sense. You had to cure stuff and you had to put flavor into it and all that stuff. And spices were seen as medicinal. Tea had a lot of similar qualities. And I think, England or India had a whole bunch of stuff. And, you could probably speak more intelligently about that than I. Hong Kong, the British had a colony there.
Opium. They got
a lot of opium coming
the
over
Orient.
there.
Yeah.
But, the term all the tea in China, right? That comes from colonialism. That comes from global trade. The U.S., the Boston Tea Party.
Again, very
important.
Boom. There
Not
you go.
that the U.S. were producing tea; they were probably importing tea through the slave trade and all that. But
it was important enough to go to war over.
Yeah.
To actually smack Britain in the face by dumping this tea overboard.
Yeah. So
how do you like that, Britain? Take this with your tea.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Which they probably were just like, all right, we'll get more tea from India. Which leads me to the Queen and her tea of choice. Did you happen to Google this? There's 3.
I did not. Did you Google it?
Yeah. So I found a few.
I guarantee you one is English breakfast. It has to be.
No. No.
It's
There are
not.
3.
Okay.
You're close. English breakfast is such a classic tea, right? Like that's like.
And it's got England in the name.
Yeah.
English breakfast. Yeah.
So she likes, for the more English, kind of traditional English tea she goes for is the Earl Grey. From what I
Respect
read,
to the Earl Grey.
Solid,
that's probably her uncle.
Solid tea, the Earl of Grey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then she did, there are 2 teas that I saw, and maybe you might know more about them than I, which is probably a microaggression even to say, but Assam tea, which is from India. And
it sounds like you're about to say Ashanti.
Ashanti, yeah, she's a big fan.
Yeah.
Darjeeling tea or
Darjeeling, that is the Indian tea. Yeah, that's why they went over here and enslaved my people basically.
So those
sweet
those
Darjeeling
3 teas came up in my search of the Queen's favorite teas. But apparently the one she drank the most was the Earl Grey. But I could be wrong, and leave comments calling me an idiot if I am, and tell us if you know something more than we do about which teas people like.
Do you have a relationship with tea, or you're a coffee guy?
I'm neither. I'll drink coffee in the morning.
You have to drink caffeine to make it in this world, Jared. Like, what are we talking about?
I have one coffee in the morning. 1 cup of coffee in the morning.
Okay. All right. So you're a coffee guy.
If I'm going to have a tea, because I did live in Asia, so I lived in Taiwan, and Taiwan does oolong tea. And I like a nice cold oolong tea, very low sugar. I find it very refreshing. But like an iced oolong, in Chinese they say bantang, very low sugar. And
I like the way that I would love to say I want some oolong tea. I just like the way it sounds.
Oolong. How do we say tea? And I forget my Chinese is going.
You do it the right way. The way you say it.
You got to get oolong cha maybe I think. Yeah.
Is it cha? Because in India it's cha as well.
Yeah, might be cha. Oolong cha. Maybe, I don't know. Chinese people, please weigh in down below. Call me an idiot and correct me if I'm wrong. Oolong cha, yeah, I think is what it is. But
that's interesting because in India, in the north, it's called. I'm Punjabi, so we call it cha.
Yeah,
but everyone else calls it chai.
Right,
which is what kind of Starbucks kind of brought that over as chai. But it's similar,
The idiots who say chai tea, which is redundant.
Ooh, that will just like make your eye twitch if you're a brown person when someone says that. Ooh. That's a rough one. I personally, I've only drunken tea in my life. I enjoy it. I like it a lot. I drink it the British style with the tea bag in the mug, and you pour the water. I drink it Indian style, the cha, which is also delicious too. Takes a little bit longer, but it is really delicious.
And you can make chai tea or whatever it's called, cha?
Yeah, I made a video on YouTube about it.
I did. First, I did see that.
Hey, Schmindian YouTube channel, by the way.
Check it out.
It's a minute-long short. If you don't watch it, then you are you're in favor of the occupation of India, and you don't like brown people if you don't watch that video. So you go.
Those are the people that still call it Bombay.
Yeah. Screw you guys. That's Mumbai. It's Mumbai, you racist.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's and then from cha, it's like there's a milk way, and then there's like the black way or something, or the just that's kind of the tea, just that's a tea without the milk. Is that?
No, we go milk.
Always
we put the milk in the pot, and we bring the milk to a boil. Once it starts, it looks like it's going to overflow the pot. Then we take it off the heat, and then pour that in your cup, strain out all of the goodies, and you got yourself a delicious afternoon tea. By the way, we should discuss this in that how hobbits have like different names for meals. They have breakfast,
secondsies, thirdsies, whatever it was,
all those things. So the Brits apparently they have different names for their meals in Britain, and a lot of people call dinner tea. In Britain. Yeah.
Okay.
In certain places.
Right.
But then in other places, tea is an afternoon thing.
Yeah, it's the cucumber sandwiches and the,
Yes.
Sometimes champagne even. I've had champagne with tea.
Look at you, bougie fuck.
Yeah. My wife and I, we like to go. We did a high tea in London. I've done a high tea at the Plaza Hotel in New York. Windsor Arms and Charlie. Like that, the best high teas. I've been there. And they're pretty good.
They're good?
Yeah, pretty good.
What's the food like at high tea? What do you eat?
It's usually the little sandwiches, the fancy little pastries. It comes on like a tower. There's always some sort of ornate tower of things. Cucumber sandwiches.
Now, do you drink the tea or eat the sandwiches with your pinky out?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
You do.
Yeah,
All right. Because they're that size. They're like delicate and stuff.
Yeah, it's like espresso. You can't have an espresso without throwing that pinky out. You feel like, and I like espresso because it makes me feel like I'm a big giant, and I'm just, or it makes me feel like I'm in The Sopranos, sitting out in front of Satriali's with my espresso. So,
I do love how food really does change your perspective on yourself as you're eating it, as you just mentioned with the espresso.
Absolutely. So, any experiences you have with food, it kind of just makes you like, it puts you in a different mindset, or even alcohol. Like, I don't think you drink, but certain drinks, like if you have a martini, you're James Bond, doing that. Or if you have a whiskey, sometimes if I have a bourbon and I'm having it straight, I feel like a cowboy. You know how every time cowboy movies, they come in and they throw just some arbitrary amount of coins on the table, and then they get a whiskey in a cup and they just drink that, and it really cuts the dust off the trail. Like, there's that visceral feeling you get. And to be honest with you, when you drink whiskey, and you never end up doing it like them, because you're always just like, oh yeah, that sucks. Like, that's not refreshing at all. It's like having a fettuccine Alfredo on the beach. Like, just really not refreshing.
Seems like a good idea. Then you try it and things go bad.
No bueno. All right, let's get back. Let's veer back on topic.
Okay, next food. Next food is actually, it goes from Charles at minute 47 drinking tea to Tony Blair eating something out of a bowl. Don't know what that is. However, I don't like it when people eat on the phone. What are your thoughts about that? Like
talking and eating on the phone?
Yeah.
I used to when I actually spoke on the phone to people. I'm not a fan, but I do it sometimes. Like if I have chips. Like I'm a big chips guy.
Chips on the phone? Are you insane?
And chips for you British.
That is the most disrespectful food you can eat.
It's bold. I could even throw some down right now. Watch this, Paul. We're doing it.
I swear.
Shout out Ruffles, all dressed. Let's do it.
I had my chips.
Just sitting.
I had my chips before. Can you even see it? I had my chips before the podcast. Like a goddamn gentleman.
Right into the mic, too.
Oh,
yeah.
Disrespectful. But okay, so they cut. So again, this is a scene where they intercut food between Tony Blair and again, it's showing the contrast of their life. So at this scene, Tony Blair is trying to speak some sense into the Queen by trying to convince her, fly the flag at half-mast, do something. The people want this, and the Queen is in the middle of tea. Which I think when you're at that level and your days are going by. From what I understand, like my parents are retired, and like little things like high tea really mean a lot.
No, it's a big event, right?
It's a big event for your day, especially the way they do it. And I must say, the way they did it, and when they called her, she actually had like a little pastry thing, and they had a whole spread out, by the way. But she had a little pastry thing in her hand, and she had to put that thing down without eating it to talk to Tony Blair, which I think contributed to the animosity on the phone call a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You're about to put this thing in your mouth, which is delicious. Someone interrupts you with something you don't want to do in the first place, which you think is like, why are you bothering me with this? We're not supposed to fly it at half-mast.
And he's eating
I think it added a little bit,
Yeah, he's eating a bowl of gruel while he's doing that. Like, it's like what are you doing, man?
He's eating some goddamn SpaghettiOs or something.
I don't know what he's eating. We don't know what's in that bowl. But, I was going to go with gruel. Or like maybe a nice porridge. British people like the porridge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what gruel is. I thought gruel was porridge.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I've never been an orphan, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, neither have I.
Yeah. But at the end of that scene, and there is some animosity to it, Charles says to her, "Bloody fool, now your tea has gone cold." So they're a little pissed about this, Like, I don't know if you know about this, but like if you are drinking tea and you get called away to do something and you return to your tea and it's cold, that's a kick in the nuts a little bit. From a tea drinker over here, it does bother me. Is
there a saying around that? Because there's also that Eminem song with Dido, where her lyric is "My tea's gone cold. I'm wondering why you got out of bed at all." Like, or is that just,
Really?
or is that just,
Is that an expression of depression or something?
maybe it's a metaphor for something. Because, I mean, this is the second time in my life it's coming up. So there's got to be some coincidence, right?
Well, well, we're from Toronto, and we know what cold tea is, right?
Cold tea is, for those that don't know, there's actually a restaurant downtown. But cold tea basically was back in the day when bars would close down. You'd go to Chinatown. There's a street there on was it Spadina?
Yep.
And you would order cold tea, and they would just pour like a bunch of beer into a teapot, and you would drink that, or liquor of your choosing, or whatever. I don't know.
I always got beer when I ordered.
Yeah, I think it was beer. But there's a bar in Kensington called Cold Tea, and I think
they did.
They
co-opted cold tea and made an entire bar, which I think kind of ruined it.
Personally. Yeah, it brought it mainstream. But also,
sometimes hipsters ruin things, man. Yeah. And I think they ruined cold tea.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Moving along at 1 hour and 3 minutes. This I found fascinating. The Queen's husband, they're about to go to bed, and the Queen is in bed, and the Queen's husband says to her, "Move over, Cabbage."
Yeah.
Her nickname, his nickname for her is Cabbage, a food. What do you think that means? Read something into that, Jerry.
I'll try my best. I wonder if that's actually true. That's the first thing.
How could they make that up?
Philip Mountbatten called his wife Cabbage. All right, let's analyze cabbage.
That's too specific to make up. It's too specific.
The cabbage is a bitter vegetable, like purple cabbage, wouldn't you say?
Okay. We don't know. She just said cabbage.
I'm thinking.
By the way, cabbage, one of the all-time top 10 of, I guess, UK foods. Cabbage, potatoes. You know, it's one of those.
It's an
things
Irish.
where I guess
it's
everyone eats.
Irish and Scots, I think, as well. Like they do, like boiled cabbage is a big thing for them.
Huge,
Cabbage, they'll fry it with bacon and stuff, and it's pretty good, actually.
They do a lot with cabbage, for sure. But what do you think his nickname was? If her nickname was Cabbage,
Philip Mountbatten's nickname? I don't know.
Yeah, you think it was another food? You think it was like
Philly
peas?
cakes?
Philly cakes?
No, I have no idea.
You think it's bangers? Could be bangers.
Spotted dick? I don't know. No idea.
Man, cabbage though.
Cabbage.
Wow.
I mean, what properties of a cabbage? Like, it's versatile. It's
I bet there's
hearty,
a story to it.
I bet
there's a story to it. Yeah.
It's round, but I don't think she was that big of a bigger lady.
No, she always kept her, she was always in shape. God bless her.
You never know. Everyone has, personal nicknames, and maybe sometimes you just never know. And it could be one of life's mysteries.
Do you have a nickname for your lovely wife?
I do, yeah. I'm not going to say it on.
You don't want to say? Okay,
I'm not going to say it on air. But I
tend to call my girlfriends bro.
Bro.
I don't know if they seem to like it, but whatever.
It is food related, and maybe as we go on, it'll come to light. But this. Sorry,
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No. This is maybe it'll be one of the great mysteries of this podcast.
Okay, all right. Moving along, right into 104. The Queen reading negative headlines while drinking tea again.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that drinking tea while reading negative headlines is actually a soothing gesture on her part, which, as before, being taken away from her tea, a little bit agitated for the character.
The tea is calming her. The tea is kind of,
Yeah.
And were the headlines, this time with the headlines, they were people talking poorly about her, right? Or were they getting better?
No, they were talking poorly about her, and she was kind of getting concerned about
talking shit about the Queen. Okay. Yep.
And then moving on, I believe this is the last food episode of The Queen, the movie. This is where she's in one of her country estates. Balmoral. She gets a call from the Prime Minister again. A lot of this is phone acting, by the way. It's just a lot of Tony Blair and her chatting on the phone.
A lot of phone acting, yeah.
So she's back from some kind of a hunt because she's dressed like she's going to go riding a horse. Goes to the kitchen. There's a huge staff in there making things. Lunch, I presume, or tea, I guess, what they call it over there. And again, instead of taking it in the study, which apparently there is none, she dismisses the staff, takes a phone call in the kitchen by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact that it's in an empty kitchen, do we read anything into that? Is this sort of like now she's by herself in this place. Now she can think clearly about what's going on.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Because this is when she starts coming around.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a couple of scenes here that, and maybe this could be me really overthinking it, but every time she takes a call, it's in the first time it's in the study, and then, from time down, then now she's down in it with the people in the kind of the servants, the working class room. So maybe there's some sort of, this could be a complete overthink, but maybe there's some sort of representation of every time she has this call, it's kind of leading us down this path of she's starting to become a kind of a queen of the people. They always mention Diane, a princess, Lady Di, as the princess of the people, and that the queen and everyone else was kind of above, highfalutin. But maybe it's her kind of transitioning from, I'll take it into the study, to I'll take it with the people. I mean, she still kicks everyone out. But
no, I do like that, though. I do like that because she's alone in a working place.
Yeah.
This is this place where people work.
Yeah.
So her setting has now engulfed her in the working class, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said.
And then there's another scene that I don't know if we can construe it with food, but I mean, it will be food, is when, Mountbatten and the princes have been hunting that stag. She sees the stag and feels sorry for it. She's crying in the middle of the field. And then the stag becomes, the last scene with the stag, it's venison now, hanging from the thing. So the stag, to me, if I'm going to put my overthinking hat on again,
please do.
Represents the British tradition, the monarchy. They're chasing this ideal. They're always Mountbatten and the princes are chasing this ideal. And then finally, a common person, a non-royal, takes it away and kills it, right?
Yes.
Kills that dream. And that's when she sees the stag, she's grieving for because she doesn't know what to do. She
cries a little bit when she sees it.
Yeah, she's losing her grip on the monarchy, right? She feels that. And she's losing her grip on the people, right? And then a common person comes and just snatches that away from her family. Takes the control away, takes that kind of thing away, and you're left with this dead stag hanging in a thing. And that British guy who runs the hunting lodge or whatever it was, it says, God save you, ma'am, or something like that, or something along those lines. And he speaks very frank with her, and you notice there's no bowing, there's no crap like that. It's just,
no, they seem to have a long relationship.
Yeah,
and they're comfortable with each other.
Two people having a conversation. That's when she kind of becomes a queen of the people.
Yeah, I do think you got something there, because it definitely did symbolize something. The fact that was the only moment in the entire film when she showed emotion,
Mm-hmm.
when she saw that she was by herself completely in the middle of by herself in the middle of a river on her own. The only company she has is that stag,
Mm-hmm.
that thing that she, like you mentioned before, is tradition in the monarchy.
Yeah.
She sees it and she looks at it and she cries a little bit. And maybe it is because she knows, these guys are probably going to kill.
She's not going to save it, right? And then she tries to save it. She has a last ditch effort where she's like, "Go, shoo, motherfucker, get out of here!" And then no, somebody else walks up and shoots it in the head.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in here in Halifax, so every now and then I will see a deer.
Okay.
And a lot of times out of nowhere. The other day, I was literally in my house all day. The only time I left my house was to take the garbage out and to put it in the garbage can. I take the garbage out, put it in the garbage can. I look up, boom, deer walks right past me through the backyard. And there is something about seeing wild animals that does something to you spiritually or psychologically or something. When you see them, it really affects you.
Yeah.
It affects me personally.
Well, you freak out a little bit, because they're unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. Also, it's a special occasion, right?
Yeah.
I don't see, I don't see a fox every day. I don't see an elephant every day. I see raccoons and squirrels every day because I'm from Toronto, but,
yeah,
it's a thing.
Yeah. They're majestic animals, especially, deer, stags, things like that. I never feel scared when I'm around them.
I could take.
They're kind of pussies.
Yeah, I could take a deer.
You just make a sudden move and they're gone.
Yeah.
But they're majestic.
I'll punch a deer in the face. I don't care.
I bet you will. I punched two this week, man. Yeah. They were talking shit.
They look like John Cusack to me. All right.
What are you looking at, Cusack?
Yeah, what are you
Punch
looking
right in your
at?
dumb face.
Well, we've come full circle there, which is nice.
Yes, we
nice,
have. Yes,
nice
we have.
wrap up to the story there, John Cusack. Not
I
a
think
fan.
I think we've milked the Queen.
Yeah, we've milked the Queen. We've milked
for all the food content we can get out of a podcast.
Yeah, we've milked Mountbatten. We've milked Prince Philip.
Yeah, so if you want to download Jeremy's very generous and very authentic lamb stew, I believe it's going to be in the comments below. You can download the link from there. Make it yourself. Leave a comment. Share it with your friends, if you will. Pretend to be royal.
Yeah.
For one meal, for God's sake.
Put it in a purpose-built basket. Eat it in a field, and then go kill something.
That's right. So this is episode 1 of the Food and Movies podcast, where we investigate the intersection between food and movies. This has been The Queen. Our next episode is going to be Pulp Fiction, which is possibly the greatest food movie ever made. Yeah. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We will get into it.
We are going to dig deep.
Yes, we will. Have a good day, everyone.